Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 22 with me, Dan, and the BMW Slothz team for the final two races of Season 3. One today, of course, because you're watching it. The other one on Thursday, that will be the season finale. And given that there's been not really any news whatsoever at the time of recording this on F1 23 and when the hell that might be coming out, we're going to go all the way to the end of Season 4. And, we'll see if the game actually comes out. By the time that the Season 4 finishes on my release schedule, it should be the start of July / end of June, which is normally when the next game comes out. If needs be, I'll just make some random content to go in between. Anyway, we've got a sprint race today, so we've got 2 practice sessions that we're just coming to the end of now, just picking up basically all of the leftover reliability upgrades, and then we're straight on to the first race of the day. So then, race number 1 of today's episode, I guess. It's the sprint race in Brazil, and this is going to be an interesting one. It's very close to the end of both championships. The constructors and the drivers are still up for grabs, so don't miss out on anything. Like this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you will know when the finale's uploaded on Thursday. It's usually about 4:30 GMT, if that's any good for you and you want to watch it right away. So onto the starting grid then, and it was a wet qualifying once again, so you can probably guess where this is going. We've got Lando Norris on pole alongside our teammate Carlos Sainz, literally less than a tenth splitting the two of them at the front of the grid. Further down the order then, we have Fernando Alonso and Charles Leclerc, Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton, George Russell and Lance Stroll, Kevin Magnussen and Yuki Tsunoda, Robert Schwartzman and Pierre Gasly, Théo Pourchaire and Alex Albon, Max Verstappen with a penalty alongside us, Oscar Piastri and Nicholas Latifi, Dan Ticktum and Zhou Guanyu, Mick Schumacher and Esteban Ocon. And now it's time to get down to the starting grid, where we'll start with the sprint. I think I better said there that Max Verstappen had a penalty. He didn't. I just jumped to conclusions. Same with Esteban Ocon. They just decided to time their laps poorly in qualifying with that rain. Down to turn 1 we go. We're going to go up the inside of Verstappen into turn 1, following our old teammate Théo Pourchaire. Verstappen tries to come back at us, gets sandwiched between us and the Haas as we go alongside Théo Pourchaire in the run down to turn whichever one this is that Max Verstappen can't stay on the road for. Into the braking zone we go. We're following Robert Schwartzman, so we're already up about 3 places on where we started, but we've got a long way to get to the front, and literally the stakes could not be higher right now. We're in with a chance of winning this championship and the constructors. We do not want to ruin our chances. Hopefully Carlos Sainz is going to hold off a little longer. He's already dropped a position by the looks of things on the minimap, and now we're stuck behind the battling Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon and Robert Schwartzman. Although looking at Schwartzman, I think he might be a little bit held up here as we get a bit of oversteer, which is something that happened about 15 million times in this race. There we go again with the oversteer, that time just going over the curve a little bit too much, which doesn't help matters. And unfortunately, it doesn't help us catch up to the back of these guys on the run out of turn, the final corner. But here we go, Robert Schwartzman up ahead. We go for the dive down the inside, nearly take the chocolate off the top of that Jaffa Cake Williams. And Robert Schwartzman's going to come back at us because of that mistake. He's still alongside us, but we've got the inside line here. Locks up again for us. Something that just consistently keeps happening. I mentioned in the Mexico race. I don't understand, but for some reason this car is really prone to locking up. And now it's really prone to oversteer, and I think that's because we got the last front wing upgrade, and I think it's a little bit too front heavy. It's not really the heavy, but yeah, it likes it's front active. I don't know. Down the inside of Alex Albon. I think he may have just hit us there actually, unless we locked up. But either way, we're past him and cleared a little bit of a gap. And we rejoined on the final lap because there was a large space between us and Pierre Gasly, which we had to close up, and we've managed to close it to within half a second, but it's not going to be enough as we come down towards the finish line and we cross behind Pierre Gasly and Kevin Magnussen. It's P12, so not quite into the top 10 and not exactly where we would want to be, but it is the best of a bad situation. And now we'll get on to the sprint results on screen. Now Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz are the podium finishers, and there's the rest of the field if you want to pause the video. But now it's time for the race. Well then, with the results of that sprint race, that's going to put McLaren about another 40 points ahead of us overall in the Constructors. Although Sainz did pick up a couple of points there, it's probably not going to be too good. So we've really got to perform here in this Brazilian Grand Prix, or else we will lose to McLaren. Once again, if you like the content on this channel and you want to see more, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell as well so you know when all of the content is uploaded. But you've got shorts, we've got full-length videos, we've got streams, we've got random stuff, and you can go and check me out on Twitch, Discord, and Instagram, TikTok, all of the big ones. Over to the starting grid, we got Lando Norris lining up on pole as we knew about, and Charles Leclerc alongside him, and we'll go down the rest of the field and see if there's any more penalties. There's Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso, Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Lance Stroll, Yuki Tsunoda and Kevin Magnussen, Pierre Gasly and then Radiant Slothz, Alex Albon and Robert Schwartzman, Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri, Teo Pourchaire and Dang Tictum, Esteban Ocon and Nicholas Latifi, and finally it's Mick Schumacher and Joe Guanyu who dropped all the way to the back of the field during the sprint race. And we'll go down for the penultimate time onto the starting grid. There's the Drivers' Championship there. We are quite a little way ahead of Alonso right now, but we don't really want to put anything down to chance because that would be absolutely awful. There are the same statistics again, but this time without pictures. Thank you, Codemasters. And there's our car, which seems to become the second shot on all of these pit walk clips. And we see yet another Williams up close. We'll be changing that livery next season, but for now, it's a Jaffa cake. So, P12. 11 places to make up, and a championship on the line today as we go away in Brazil. I can't even see us through the mess of cars. We've got Robert Schwartzman challenging us up the inside, but we dive up the inside of Kevin Magnussen and Pierre Gasly. Then Magnussen gets squeezed in a similar way to Verstappen in the previous race, and this time we've moved our way into the top 10 on the first couple of corners as we come down towards turn 3 or 4, I don't even know. At this point, we run a little bit wide there, some oversteer again. Yuki Tsunoda up ahead of us. Probably going a little bit slow there as everyone starts jostling around. I couldn't go on board at this point because I actually paused it and went to the shops halfway through one of these corners, and the footage was just unusable. So we get up the inside of Yuki Tsunoda, as does potentially his teammate. Goes around the outside. Great job for Pierre Gasly. And we rejoin on lap 3 when I have returned with my snacks and drinks. Following Lance Stroll to claim P8. Look at the lead up ahead, though, that the McLaren of Norris has. Pretty comfortable already, and we're still closing up on Stroll here. We get right into the gearbox, move to the left, and try and go around the outside up the hill. Are we going to be able to pull this one off? The line's quite good, but Stroll's still there, and we give him too much room, lock up, and allow him to get back through there up the inside. Not great for us, but not much we can do about it. So we rejoin at the end of lap 3 instead. Stroll all over the place there as he tries to mow the artificial green grass that they've painted on the tarmac, but we get round him and managed to get away nicely. Up next, we've got the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton, who's at the back of a little train led by Sergio Perez. And here we go on board now on lap 7. Down turn 1 we go. Lewis Hamilton looking solid, although at the back, unsurprisingly, of this train with that power unit. DRS is open. We're closing in on the Ferrari. It looks like it's going to be a late move, and we go down the inside of Lewis Hamilton. And oh my goodness, we kept it on the track. Max Verstappen, if you are watching, that is how you overtake at that corner. Let's go on board with Lewis Hamilton. Down the inside we go, and incredibly, both cars, aside from me going over the white line slightly, are on the track. And now we rejoin on lap 7. Into the pits we go, following George Russell. Sergio Perez has stayed out. In comes Stroll, but that's irrelevant now. We want to know who else is already in here. Nobody, it seems. It's just the 3 of us. Russell's already done. We pull into our pit garage. Will we get out ahead of him? Not an unsafe release. Oh, no, we do have an unsafe release yet again. And we pull in behind the Mercedes. Would have been a little bit cheeky to have stayed out ahead of him. And we come through turn 2 now, or 3, on board with the diffuser. There's Théo Pourchaire. We're ahead of him. And now it's down the inside of George Russell into this corner. And again, staying on the circuit. I'm not entirely sure how. And look at that Théo Pourchaire. Although he's on worn softs, does actually get through as well. Let's ride on board with Russell. Incredible. Didn't have to go off the track once. And there's Théo Pourchaire getting through as well, with one of the cheekiest overtakes I've ever seen him do. And we rejoin on lap 9. Sergio Perez up ahead of us. Carlos Sainz has gone onto the hard tyre because he's a moron. And we come up behind Perez. Now he squeezes us to the right-hand side. And we go for a toe, and he brake checks us through the corner. Sergio Perez, the nemesis of us on this channel. I like the guy, but for goodness sake, Perez, why? You're going to be in so many of these little shorts and clips with the incidents that you pull off. There's a great one coming up in a co-op career that's half finished. I wish I could share it. It's hilarious, but not yet. It's not quite ready. So now it's down towards turn 1 again. We go around the outside into turn 1 this time. Go very deep into the corner, but we've managed to keep it on the road ahead of us. But Perez is going to go for the switchback here. Goes round the outside, and now it's a drag race down towards the hairpin. We give him a taste of his own medicine as we push him off the circuit as much as possible. Perez does not appreciate it, but he does accept that he did brake check us and that it was a dick move earlier on. And then we rejoin a lot later on lap 17 now. We're actually following our team, but it's taken us all this time to catch up, and we go down the inside of Sainz with the dust there locking up. I don't know why he go onto the hard tyre. I mean, the entire season he has been fine, but he goes and chooses the hard tyre in the one race that we need him to be on the medium. And as we come through here, we got to try and get past Fernando Alonso. I don't even think that it's going to be enough if we could do that, because Lando Norris, 4.5 seconds plus ahead of Charles Leclerc. 7 basically ahead of us, or 8 seconds ahead of us. We've got no chance. Alonso is on the hard as well, but even so, we're struggling through here. I mentioned earlier the oversteer and the lockups, sliding around like we're on ice at this circuit, and it's just not paid off as we come through the last proper corner here. We've got a great run on Alonso coming out of here. We'll see if we can get past him on the line. I don't think we're going to win the Constructors' Championship, but we can still get a podium here as we close in on Fernando Alonso. It's going to be a photo finish as we cross the line. Oh, and it's so close between us, but it's just not gone our way there. Fernando Alonso just about had enough in the tank at the end of the race. We picked up driver of the day, but realistically, I would have taken the 3 extra points for pipping him at the finish line. There's the race winner, Lando Norris, congratulated by his teammate Fernando Alonso. And yes, they have indeed won the Constructors' Championship. But there's still one race to go. And you know what happens in that race? It's going to be a three-way title decider. We'll look at the scores in a moment to see who's in with the best chance. But the teammate game is out the window, and it's every man for himself. Radiant Slothz versus Lando Norris versus Fernando Alonso for the title. Let's get on with those race results. And as usual with the sprint weekends, we've got the full weekend results here. You can see that the McLarens between them picked up 54 points, which was absolutely incredible. But we, unfortunately, just couldn't get enough to catch up to them. But those are the point tallies for the race. 11 drivers scoring here. So firstly, over to the Drivers' Championship, you can see we're just 13 points clear of Lando Norris and 23 points clear of Fernando Alonso. So both drivers are in with a chance, although Alonso's is looking slightly slimmer. Further down the order, we have Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Esteban Ocon and Lance Stroll. And outside of the top 10, we've got George Russell, Pierre Gasly, Kevin Magnussen, Alex Albon, Yuki Tsunoda finishing out the point scorers for this season. Dan Ticktum, Robert Schwartzman, Oscar Piastri, Teo Pourchaire, Joe Guan Yu, Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi. There's the final Constructors' Championship results. McLaren win with a lead of 57 points over us in second. We're followed by Red Bull, Ferrari, Alpine, Mercedes, AlphaTauri, Haas, Williams, Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin. And that's all for now. We'll catch you next time for the season finale.